Good day to everyone. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. Hope the audibility is good. Fine. Let me display the slide. Asian session live market analysis on April 5th between 5 and 5:30 GMT. It is a simple market tracking technique using the live market code page. I go in the link and you can use the link and watch the live market code page. See where exactly the currency pairs are currently. Now we can see Euro is trading 1.3512, 1.3514. The net change is 9 pips positive, but it opened higher at 35.37 and subsequently made the slide. Then GBP also made a higher opening and subsequently it is making a dip, and the current level is 52.56 and 52.60. 1.5216 is the low, 1.5293 is the high. The net change is 49 pips positive. So when Euro has made about 8 pips or 9 pips positive, GBP has made about 50 pips positive. It indicates that they wanted to make the drop in the case of Euro GBP, and Euro GBP has already shown a net change negative of 24 pips. Then in the case of Japanese yen, it was trading higher soon after the non-farm payroll, around above 94. Then it formed the initial high of 94.04, subsequently went up this morning also during the Japanese session. It has gone to 94.77 and come down, and it is trading near that of the low 94.33. Current level is 94.42.45. Then in the case of Canadian CHF, Swissy, 1.0598, 1.0601 are the current levels. 1.0589 is the low, 1.0621 is the high. The net change is 9 pips negative. So when Euro is made about 89 pips positive, CHF is making about 89 pips negative. So they are moving in tandem. So you don't find that Euro CHF is unaffected. Only 1 pip net change negative. Then in the case of Canadian dollar, it is testing again below that of 1.01. So 1.0104 is the high, 1.0073 is the low. The net change is 31 pips negative. So in a thin volume condition, they made the drop and they are keeping it at lower level USD CAD, and which is creating the slightly bigger move when compared to that of the other currency. GBP has made about 70 to 80 pips difference between the high and the low, and CHF, Canadian dollar, has made a little bit of spread between the low and the high. The rest of the currencies are in subdued moves. Australian dollar is trading currently around 0.9211 and 0.9188 is the low, 0.9217 is the high. The net change is 22 pips positive. So we come across that a nominal USD weakening move in the case of Euro and GBP, and also in the case of Yen and CHF, then also in the commodity pairs. So on Friday, after the non-farm payroll, they made the USD gaining move because the data was relatively positive to that of US dollar, and that has become short-lived, and they made the rise this morning during the Japanese session, and from there they are making the slide. But today, in most of the places, it is a holiday and continuation of Easter. So we will come across thin volume market swings. Accordingly, the market may make the following moves. So let me focus the camera over that of the slide and explain the expected market moves for today. So during the Japanese session, they open high and slide are the expected move. And currently the time is about 5:25 GMT. So there could be a slide from the top 6 GMT to 7 GMT towards the close or the late Japanese session. Then subsequently during the European session, lower level swing or a downward stop below that of the low, and then from that of the mid-European session, there could be a rise. Then again during the US session, there could be swings in the middle level and then a little bit of gain. And US session is expected to be active because there are going to be data released during that of the US time, and Europe it is a holiday. So obviously you will find an impact of the holiday in volume in the market moves today. Then with regard to the initial highs and the lows, the low was 1.3483 in the case of euro, 1.3537 the high is intact, and in the case of GBP, 1.5216 is the low, which is above than that of Friday close, and now the new high has been formed 5293, and subsequently it is trading in the middle level 1.5260, 1.5264. We know that in last month, most of the time, euro was looking very strong when compared to that of GBP. At that time, euro GBP was very high, around 0.90, 0.91, etc. Now you find that GBP has gained more when compared to that of euro. This is all mainly to handle the European crosses. Nothing more than that. Nothing to do with that of the economic conditions of UK or euro. Then in the case of CHF, 1.0589 is the low, which is intact, and 1.0621 is also intact, which is a high. Then yen is making a little bit of swings, around 94.33 is the low, 94.77 is the high, and they are expected to cut the low and go to that level of Friday initial highs 94.03, and then subsequently a small dip below that of 94.33 could be a buy opportunity in the case of USD, and subsequently they are expected to breach the level of 94.77, and because it is a thin volume day, there could be a dragging in the market, so the levels may be achieved a little later, or it may take a prolonged time than that of the usual market condition. Then Australian dollar 0.9188 is the low, which is intact. Then 0.9217 is the high, and again here you come across a subdued move, but the net change is showing about 22 pips positive. So you can understand that on Friday, what they showed as the USD gaining move after the non-farm payroll that was released on a holiday in most of the places, but still there was a little bit of impact, but they made the USD gaining move, and towards close they gained again in the case of the other majors, and they followed it up with regard to the gains in the other majors on Japanese session today, and subsequently they are making the slide. So market has to make up and down moves, and they are, if you try to relate it to that of the fundamentals, we may get disappointed, or we may be wondering why it has USD was gaining on Friday and subsequently it has lost now when there is no data released during this particular Japanese session. Then USD CAD, which is come to that level of 1.0073 and currently trading around that low 1.0074, 1.0078 are the respective falls. They could make further drop in the case of USD CAD, and they may breach the psychological level 1.0050 and try to hit the stop. So they may go down up to the top 1.0043 and then subsequently gain the levels today, even though it is a thin volume market. So they know that those who are holding the pending positions, they will keep the stops in order to avoid further losses, and they would have identified the stops below that of 1.0070, and they will try to hit those stops now. And so USD CAD could be very active today, and whenever there is a holiday move or whenever the market has got thin volume conditions, they take more time in handling the crosses, because there they are able to earn more when compared to that of the majors. So that sort of moves could be seen today, and the activity is seen a little bit of about 1 to 2 pips swing up and down move swings are seen during this Japanese session. European session probably it might be very subdued as it appears, and your session probably it might pick up with regard to the those who are holding the pending positions rather than anybody trying to commit a fresh position. So this is the expected scenario for today in the market. And let me minimize the PowerPoint presentation, and if there are questions, then I'll answer to those questions. Since there was a login problem, I think that not many would have logged in, and I don't envisage any questions or be posted here. Okay, no question. So let me probably give an expected market moves in this particular week, also in this particular month. So taking this advantage because it is being recorded. So those who are not in a position to attend this webinar, probably they can listen to it later and understand what could be the expected moves in this particular week and also in the month of April, because that might be more helpful for those who are listening it late. Now, in this particular week, between 5th and 9th of April, today, because of the holiday thing, volume, there may not be much of an activity, even though the expected moves I have given it. And the market could show little bit of USD weakening move during that of the late US session. So during the data release time in the US session, there could be a drop, little bit of drop, and then subsequently the gains could be seen during the late US session. And tomorrow there could be a big beginning false move. Because of the thin volume today, tomorrow there could be more of a USD gaining move during that of the European session and during the US session. They will try to slide Euro and GBP more, and probably tomorrow during the late European session, USD Yen could breach 95 and go above. Then with regard to Wednesday, we could come across USD Yen continue to rise, gaining more. Probably this opportunity for USD Yen to gain more level, and subsequently Euro and GBP are expected to gain the level. So as a result, Euro Yen and GBP Yen are expected to gain more levels in this particular week. Then from midweek onwards, I am expecting more and more gains in the case of Euro and GBP. Probably we could see visible gains in Euro and GBP. Then next week, between 12th to 16th of April, after the week beginning false move of drop on 12, then subsequently the gains are expected. So at that time, the gains could be more significant, and probably we might come across Euro and GBP or trading around new territory above the recent high in the case of Euro 1.38 and in the case of GBP 1.5380. They could trade above those levels. Then the last 2 weeks, from 19th to 23rd and 26th to 30th, are the 2 weeks in April, and I am envisaging a considerable amount of gains in the case of Euro and GBP, and they should be able to achieve the net permissible level of this particular month, probably a gain of about 600 pips in the case of Euro and about 900 pips in the case of GBP. And as you come across, the GBP is gaining more when compared to that of Euro. So they started making that type of move that Euro is gaining lesser when compared to that of GBP. Probably they will alternate intraday, but as a whole, they are expected to gain a considerable amount of pips in the case of GBP when compared to that of Euro in this particular month. So you could come across the Euro and GBP gaining moves or the other majors gaining moves as far as the numerator currencies are concerned till first week of May. Then whenever there are slides in the case of Euro and GBP as an intraday drop, you could come across more gains in the case of the denominator currencies. So now you find that the extreme levels are over in the case of USD extreme levels are over in the case of USD Only Canadian dollar is making the extreme levels, and it is also expected to come out of those extreme levels, and it is expected to quickly catch up with that of USD and come to that of 1.03 and 1.05 area in a very short time frame. So these are all the expected market moves as a general trend for this particular month. So I have taken this recording as an opportunity to give you the forecast for the entire month, and subsequently we will review this particular analysis, a general analysis to the as and fine tuned as a specific analysis with regard to the intraday on a daily basis, and see how exactly the currencies are making the market moves and how exactly we can take trading decisions based on that. Those explanations I will give it from that of tomorrow webinar onwards. So following this particular webinar, I'll post the calls or the expected market moves in a blog. Then if you have got questions, you can ask there. I'll be willing to answer those questions. So let me go back to the PowerPoint presentation again. So expected market moves for today. Japanese session open high and slide. European session swing and rise. Then after the slide, there will be lower level swings. Probably they might breach their low set in the case of Euro and GBP briefly during the European session, early European session, and gain some levels. And during US session, before the data release, they could make a dip and then subsequently make the rise for the day. These are all the expected moves for this particular day. I have already given briefly about what could be the expected moves in the month of April. And we will fine tune the forecast from time to time, incorporating the market reading into that of the forecast model. So I take this opportunity to thank FX Street and also the participants who have come here to listen to my talk, and also those who are listening to my recorded webinar. And I will continue to present the webinar tomorrow. So thank you. See you again tomorrow.